clearing out the energy. So I'm back with another message. What I'm gonna do here is I am going to hold on. I think Spirit guide me. What should I do? Okay. I'm going with the letters. Hold on. Spirit. Well, I found these two. Spirit was guiding me today. I found two feathers, a white one and this black and white one today, to let me know how protected I am. And yesterday I found two more. So every day, because there is a lot of spiritual war out here, and God is always reminding me, my spirit guides and my ancestors and my spirit animals are always telling me how protected I am, never to worry, never to walk in fear, always to walk with the faith in the Most High, and that's what I do. And I'm very thankful for always receiving the messages of the Most High. And I just want to talk about a little bit about my Greek ancestors. I think I'm gonna do a little reading on the Greeks. I did some reading on the aliens. There's a lot of them. To be honest, there is the gods of Olympus are 12, which are Zeus, and Latin name is Jupiter or Jove, which domain is the supreme ruler of the gods, god of the sky and heavens. The symbol is the thunderbolt. So this is the symbol, or oak or an eagle. Hera is Latin name for Juno, which the domain name is queen of the gods, patrons of married women, and the symbol is peacock or cow. Poseidon is Neptune, god of the sea, god of horses and horsemanship. Triton, horse are the symbols. Hades or Pluto, Latin name Pluto or Dis, god of the underworld, god of wealth. Cerberus, his three-headed dog, that's the symbol. Aries is the Latin word for Mars, which is the god of war. Spear, burning torch, vulture, dog. Those are the symbols. Athena, Pallas Athena, the Latin word is Minerva, goddess of wisdom, god of weaving, goddess of war. And her symbols are aegis, owl, olive tree, shield. Artemis is Diana, goddess of the moon, supreme huntress, protectress of maidens, and her symbols are sage, stag, cypress, and arrows. Hestia, and Latin name is Vestia, goddess of the home and hearth. Hearth, fire is the symbol. Aphrodite, name, Latin name is Venus, goddess of love and beauty. Dove, sparrow, swan, myrtle tree is her symbols. Hepatus is the Vulcan, god of fire, god of metal, workers, workmen of gods. Forge and Anvil are the symbols. You have to research those, Forg and Anbil. Those are the symbols for Hephaestus. I don't know how to pronounce it. Excuse me, please. These are Greek names. I try to do my best. Apollo, Ophobius, Apollo. Apollo is the Latin name. God of the sun, god of medicine. god of music and poetry. The symbols is the sun chariot. Lyre and laurel are the symbols. Do your research. Hermes is Mercury, messenger of the god of commerce, winged shoes, winged hat, and the wand is his symbols. So, I am going to start from the beginning, from chaos to cosmos. The ancient Greeks believed that in the beginning there was chaos. They imagined that the universe was made up of a great confused mass of raw material, without form or shape, but with the potential of all that was to come. The Greeks called this mass of raw material chaos. In Greek, the word chaos means an open gulf, the vast reaches of outer space. Therefore, the stars and planets were formed. Might well have been imagined by the ancient people to be an open gulf with nothing visible or formed. Out of the confusion of chaos came things with form and shape. The Greeks called the result cosmos. The word cosmos in Greek means order or good arrangement. Cosmos, therefore, was a very suitable word for the order which emerged out of chaos. Today, the universe is often referred to as the cosmos. The ancient Greeks believed that the first beings to come out of chaos were Gaia and Uranus, which is Uranus, or earth and sky. They thought of the two as man and wife, who had children of enormous size and strength. These children probably symbolized the enormous and destructive forces of nature. Among the gigantic offsprings of Gaia and Uranus were a group of creatures, both male and female, who were known as Titans and Titaniuses. One of them, Kronos, drove their father away and became chief. Kronos and his wife, Rhea, R-H-E-A, an early version of an earth goddess, had a number of children. Kronos kept his children under control in a most unusual way until Zeus, with the help of Rhea, was able to overthrow the rule of Kronos. One of the most important and best known of the Titans was Atlas, who battled the younger gods in effort to maintain Titan rules. The Greek believed that when the Titans were defeated, Atlas was forced to support the heaven on his shoulder as eternal punishment for his role as a Titan leader. Kronos, Saturn, and Rhea, Ops, were Titans, the children of earth and sky. Kronos, who believed that one of his own offsprings would eventually dethrone him, took extraordinary means to ensure that such a happening would never occur. This is from the myth, The Family of Kronos. For ages and ages, Kronos and Rhea ruled heaven and earth. They had 6 children, 3 of them sons and 3 of them daughters. Kronos, however, had been forewarned that one of his own children would dethrone him. He knew that such a thing could happen because he had murdered his own father to assume his position. In order to avoid meeting the same fate he had inflicted on his father, Kronos swallowed one of his infant children as soon as he or she was born. Rhea, mother of the consumed children, became quite tired of losing her offspring in this bizarre manner. After losing 5 children, she decided that enough was enough. When her sixth child was born, she wrapped the stone in swaddling clothes as she would have wrapped an infant. She handed the bundle to Kronos, who promptly swallowed it. The real baby, whom she named Zeus, was sent to the side of Crete, where he was looked after by nymphs and raised on goat milk. In due time, Zeus reached maturity. He turned to the region of his birth and, with the help of his grandmother, forced his father to disgorge the 5 children who had been swallowed earlier. Because they were gods, they survived the ordeal nicely and emerged quite unscathed. Now Zeus was joined by his sister Hera, Hestia, and Demeter, and by his brother Poseidon and Hades. With the help of his brother and sister, Zeus was determined to overthrow Kronos and seek vengeance for the old gods' treatment of them. Most of the Titans sided with Kronos. Zeus and his siblings, however, were aided by the Cyclopes and the Hecatonchires, all of whom had been confined by Kronos to Tartarus, the death of the underworld. The Cyclopones, one-eyed monster, of whom there were 3, misrepresented the terrors of rolling thunder, of the lightning flash, and of the thunderbolt. There was 3 Hecatonchires. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. Hecatonchires, who were monsters, each with 100 hands. Without the Cyclopones and the hold on one second. I can't even. Hecatonchires. That's how I'm gonna say it. And these are images of them. Hold on. Yeah, I cover my phone because people look. That's them. Hecatonchires. Zeus and his followers would not have been able to defeat the Titans. The Titans were ultimately beaten by the binding lightning and all-consuming fire set off by Cyclopes, and the shattering earthquakes precipitated by the 100-hand monster who shook the very hills as they fought. Following their defeat of the Titans, the victorious gods, led by Zeus, ruled from Mount Olympus. Their reign was not without conflict, however. Gaia, the grandmother of Zeus, who had aided her grandson in the war against Kronos, developed pangs of conscience for having done so. To help avenge the suffering the Titans had endured at the hands of the Olympians, Gaia gave birth to another son, a monster called Typhoon, whose purpose in life was to battle Zeus. Typhoon's neck sprouted 100 dragon heads. His eyes spouted fire, and his tongues created the most dreadful noise: hiss, roars, bellows, barks, and screams. Using his thunderbolt, Zeus managed to send typhoons to Tartarus, where it was said the monster still managed to send frightening fire and great noises to earth through the craters of active volcanoes. Long after banishing Typhoon to Tartarus, the gods had to deal with the giants, a race of creatures somewhat more like men than monsters. The giants clothed themselves in animal skin and used rocks and trees as weapons. They had the bodies of snakes for lower limbs, and their appearance was ghastly and frightening. In due course, however, the giants were banished forever to Tartarus. From the myth Atlas. Atlas was a Titanian who fought hard and well against Zeus and other Olympians who were trying to overthrow Cronus. When Titans lost, Atlas was punished severely. Even today, Atlas is thought of as having the weight of the world on his shoulder. Atlas was a very powerful Titan who fought so fiercely and so bravely in the war against the gods that he was singled out for special punishment when the Titans were defeated and exiled to Tartarus. Atlas was condemned to stand on the edge of the world and bear the heavens on his shoulder. Centuries passed, and still Atlas stood unrelieved of his burden. At one time he had been married to the Titaness Pleione, Pleione. Among his offsprings were the Pleiades and the Hyades, two groups of 7 sisters, each of which now graces the heavens as constellations of stars. Atlas was also the father of Calypso, on whose island Odysseus took refuge for 7 years during his journey home after the Trojan War. In addition to the Pleiades and the Hittites, Atlas had another group of daughters known as the Hesperides. These 3 lovely maidens, the apple nymph as the Hebrides, nymphs, went with their father to exile. They guarded Hera golden apple tree and grew in Atlas' shadow. The task to which Atlas was sentenced for entirety was a painful and tedious one, which involved great physical exertion and suffering as well as mental anguish. According to one version of the myth, Atlas was relieved of his suffering by Perseus, the hero who killed Medusa. It was said that one who gazed upon the head of Medusa would be turned to stone. Perseus is an effort to free Atlas. In an effort to free Atlas from eternal suffering, held the head of Medusa where Atlas could view it. Atlas turned at the head of Medusa, and by doing so, the great Titan was turned to stone. Now, where it was believed that Atlas once stood holding the heavens up on his shoulders, there are only rocky mountain peaks reaching towards the sky. As the ancient people learned more about the universe, facts began to stand in the way of literal interpretations of certain of the myths. For example, the early notion that Atlas stood supporting the sky was not consistent with the emergent science of astronomy. The Greek science of astronomy For example, the early notions that Atlas stood supporting the sky was not consistent with the emerging science of astronomy. The Greeks came to understand that the sky and the heaven bodies in it were extremely far away, too far away for Atlas to reach them. They also realized that the sky, with or without Atlas, was unlikely to fall. As time went on, therefore the story changed somewhat, and Atlas was portrayed by holding up the world, not the heavens on his shoulder, but the image persists today. That's Atlas. Prometheus and Pandora. At least one version of the ancient myth credited Prometheus with the creation of humankind. Prometheus was also held to the responsible of giving humans the gift of fire. In return, mortals and Prometheus were punished by Zeus. Pandora was a part of that punishment. Prometheus was a titan with the gift of prophecy, because he knew in advance that the titans would be useful in their battle with the Olympians. Prometheus was clever enough to side with the winners. When the conflict was over, Prometheus and his brother Epitheus were given the assignment of making humankind and providing people and all the other animals with the faculties they needed to survive. Epimetheus gave the different animals the various gifts such as courage, strength, cleverness, and swiftness. Some creatures received wings, others received claws, and so on. Prometheus, however, took it upon himself to make a creature in the image of the gods. He made humans to walk upright, with their eyes towards the heavens rather than towards the ground beneath their feet. Epitheus had been so extravagant with his gift to other animals that there was nothing left to bestow on humankind, and would be a special blessing. Prometheus, however, came up with what he believed to be the perfect gift. He lighted his torch at the chariot of the sun and brought back fire. With fire in their possession, humans would be able to accomplish many things that would be otherwise denied. Zeus was extremely vexed that Prometheus had given fire to mortals. Zeus had even been contemplating getting rid of all humans and creating a new race, but he had not yet managed to do so. The supreme god deprived the mortals of fire, but Prometheus stole the treasure once again from heaven and made it available for humans to use. Zeus was enraged that Prometheus had defied him, that he inflicted a most cruel and unusual punishment. He ordered that Prometheus be changed to a rock on Mount Cassis, where a vulture would come each day and prey upon the Titan's liver. Because the liver was not consumed, the punishment was continuous and potentially everlasting. Prometheus could have ended his ordeal by cooperating with Zeus and revealing a particular secret, but he chose not to do so. The secret Zeus wanted Prometheus to tell involved the identity of the woman who would eventually bear his son, who would displace him and end the reign of the Olympian. Prometheus, having been both blessed and cursed with the power of prophecy, was thought to know the information Zeus sought. But Prometheus was willing to wait because he also knew he would eventually be delivered from his torment by a hero whose father would be none other than the supreme God himself. And the Titan's patience was rewarded, for in the 13th generation, as foretold, the great hero Hercules killed the vulture and freed Prometheus from the chains that bound him. In addition to the punishment inflicted directly by Prometheus, Zeus contrived a curse for mortal as well. Pandora, whose name means the gift of all gods, was created. Each god or goddess contributed something to Pandora, the first woman. Pandora was beautiful, strong, talented, and curious. Zeus presented her to Epimetheus, who was delighted with the gift of so lovely a woman. Pandora brought with her a little box which she had been instructed never to open. One day, however, she was completely overcome with curiosity. She simply could not resist opening the container. She opened the lid just enough to make a tiny peek. But even that was too much. As soon as the cover was lifted, out poured a panoply of problems for humankind. Every manner of disease for the body and for the spirit, every possible evil that could befall mortals escaped from the box. Pandora instantly slammed down the cover, but she was too late to contain the evils. One thing remained, and that was hope. One should not be too hastily to draw a conclusion that curiosity is a trait only to be found in woman, of whom the Greeks believed Pandora to be the first example. There are versions of the tale which claim that it was Epiphanes rather than Pandora who opened the box and released the ills which have troubled the world ever since. Prophecy means foretelling or prediction of what is to come. Extravagant, wastely, generous, and panoply is a complete array of something. Let's see. I think I have time for this poem. Let's see, from Prometheus, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. In this poem by the American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, the ordeal of Prometheus is seen as an inspiration to poets and to everyone. O Prometheus, how undaunted on Olympus' shining bastions, his audacious foot he planted. Myths are told and songs are chanted, full of promptings and suggestions. Beautiful is the tradition, only that flight through heavenly portals, the old classic superstition of the death and the transmission of the fire of the immortals. First the deed of noble daring, born of heavenward aspirations, then the fire with mortals sharing, then the vulture and despairing cry of pain on crags Caucasian. All is but a symbol painted of the poet, prophet, seer. Only those are crowned and sainted, who with Greece have been acquainted, making nations nobler, freer. In their feverish exhaustions, in their triumphs and their yearning, in their passionate pulsations, in their words among the nations, the Promethean fire is burning. Shall it then be unveiling, all this toil for human culture. Through the cloud rack, dark and trailing, must they see above them sailing, o'er life's barren crags the vulture? Such a fate as this was Dante's, by defeat and exile maddened. Thus were Milton and Cervantes, nature's priest and Corybantes, by affliction torched and saddened. But the glories of transcendence that around their memories cluster, and all their step attendant, make their darkened lives resplendent with such gleams of inward luster, all the melodies mysterious, through the dreary darkness chanted, thoughts of attitudes imprecious, voice soft and deep and serious, words that whisper, songs that haunted, all the soul in rapt suspicion, all the quivering, palpitating chords of life is utmost tension, with the fever of invention, with the rapture of creating. O Prometheus, heaven scaling, in such hours of exhaustion, even the faintest heart unquailing, might be holding the vulture sailing round the clouded crags Caucasian, through to all there is not given strength for such sublime endeavor, thus to scale the walls of heaven, and to leaven with fury leaven all the hearts of men forever. Yet all bards whose heart unblighted honor and believe the presage, hold aloft their torches lighted, gleaming through the realms benighted, as they onward bear the message. And that was a few readings from the myths and legends of the book that I am reading at this moment in regards to the Greek gods and the goddesses and the legends that lived on this planet and are here spiritually helping those who are connected and know who they are. They're here. They're with us. And it's just a blessing just to get connected to them and just read upon their history and, you know, what they've been through and their strength. There's a lot that they did. And everything is chaos. We all come from chaos. But we have to go into the light. And just know that. I love you all. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Continue reading. Continue expanding your minds. Don't just take my words for value, whatever. You have to go within and ask this is something that you need to learn. The first answer is your answer. Okay? Never second guess yourself. I love you all. Namaste. Bye.